We're keeping things chill. We're keeping things chill. All right? We're just going to talk about games that I really liked. Recapping games I like. Alright, wait. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Oh! Okay. Oh, that font is way too small. Alright, that's number one. Alright. This is probably the game of the year for me. It's, if you haven't played it, it's great. It's a JRPG with a really cool message, and it's more serious than other Persona games, which I really appreciate, because it's kind of good to get like a palate cleanser sometimes. But yeah, Metaphor is probably my game of the year, dude. Like, the only thing about Metaphor that I don't like compared to other Atlas games is the music wasn't as good as other Atlas games, usually. That's like my only caveat with it. Because it's like, Persona 5, obviously, you know, that whole meme of like, it invented jazz. That's a whole meme. But even like SMT, like when you play an SMT game and it's just like a guitar that's like destroying the universe of how good it is, Metaphor is kind of like, there's like 3 or 4 tracks that I would consider like excellent. Other than that, I'm like, yeah. There's like, we got the battle themes, the 2 battle themes. Tradia Desert theme, which is really good. Then one of the mini boss themes, not even a boss theme, one of the mini boss themes is really good. And then other than that, it's like, I can't really think of anything else. I have to like get a list of also things that came out this year, because I have no idea what came out this year. Games that came out in 2024. Dude, I have to play Infinite Wealth. Relink came out this year? Wait, really? Really? Relink came out this year. I didn't know. I wasn't aware that Relink came out this year. Did it actually come out this year? That's kind of crazy that it came out this year. I thought it was fine. I didn't beat it. Games of the years. Games that were good, but not good enough. I didn't vibe with too much. Is that a better metric? Maybe that could be better. All right. What can I put here? Resign numbering. Okay. Most likely. Let me think. Helldivers 2 was good. Helldivers 2. Sequel. Helldivers 2 was fun for like a day. Personally, I'm not that much into shooters. So it kind of just like, I played it, it was fun, but I didn't really like appreciate it like some other people, because it's like the whole community thing and the whole like, we must save Super Earth and that whole kind of thing. That was fun. That was pretty fun for a bit, but I didn't really, at the end of the day, I didn't really was like, whoa, dude, This is excellent. It kind of just happened. So I was kind of just sitting there like, whoa. Yeah. It's kind of like, what other game came out this year that's kind of like it? Well, not necessarily this year, but it's a wave survival game. So it's like, I don't know. I just didn't vibe with it as much as other people did. I gotta think of like other games that came out this year. Concord. Oh shit, Concord. We have to talk about Concord at least a little bit. Concord. Its own list. Number 1, Concord, baby. Concord, baby. Concord, oh baby. Alright, so Concord, we have to talk about Concord. You can't talk about the whole year of video games and not talk about Concord, because it's like Concordian players. There has never been a phenomenon as funny as Concord in recent memory, at least in my mind. The fact that Sony was like, we're gonna put like all these fat stacks on this game, and that game was not well received at all, and it was just dead. It's so funny to me. And it's like a team shooter. There was a power gap, right? Because Overwatch came out, Overwatch 2 came out. Oh, people don't like Overwatch 2. Oh, Overwatch 2, very bad. People didn't like it. I stopped playing Overwatch after a while. I know a lot of other people stopped playing Overwatch for a while. People who still played Overwatch, they were playing the game because I don't know, it like held their family hostage or something. That's why I assume they played it. The fact that Marvel Rivals came out later, like 2 months, cinema, absolute cinema. The fact that it happened, very funny, very, very funny. And I was sitting there like, whoa. What the fuck? Because it's a whole thing where, why? Like in actuality, like why? Like why would you make a game like this in such a way when Sony has had the market of single player games for a while now? Like they could have made another Spider-Man, another like Ragnarok, another whatever. But no, they were like, let's make a team shooter. And then we're gonna make $1 million. Or $1 billion. Or $1 billion. It's a shame. It's a big shame. Big shame. Big boo. Like boo. And it's like, damn. And I really just like, I feel so bad. Because obviously it's easy to be like, oh look, Sony fucked up so bad. Like Sony, yeah, get that absolutely dunked on. You gotta release Bloodborne to make back all those dollars. Like Bloodborne for PC and PS5 is the only thing that'll let you recover from this madness. But it's like clearly a lot of people put love into that game. And that studio, I'm assuming, got obliterated after Concord's like destruction. So it's like, damn. It's just funny. What else came out this year, huh? Marvel Rivals. So I guess since we're on that train, we might as well talk about Marvel Rivals. Like, I don't know. Marvel Rivals. Ooh. What should I call this? What's a good subtitle for Marvel Rivals? $1 billion. This is how much money they made. $1 billion. Marvel Rivals is excellent. You have heard it from the streets, from the rivaling streets. Very good game. It's so good that it's like a refreshing lemonade. And by that I mean that it's a good game. Why is it good? Well, first of all, it's fun in the sense of what I actually mean by that, which is it's a game that tries to be fun, which not many competitive games try to do sometimes. We've seen the fall of Overwatch, which sort of leaned more and more into the esports like side of things. There's League of Legends, which is like knee deep in esports stuff. And so this leads into situations where the games are very top heavy, right? Where the fun in it is purely from a technical and a competitive standpoint. And it's like, whoa, dude, like, all right, you kind of have to like think about things for a moment where it's like, what exactly is this game for? Like, who is this game for is what I meant. Who is this game for? Because it's like, so someone could sit there and be like, well, this is a very competitive game, right? It's for all the people who really just want to dig deep into the mechanics. And it's like, if you do that too much and you just balance the game around just high competitive play, it leads to situations where I think the most telling thing of Overwatch is like Mercy's ult getting completely remade. Where it was like, oh, Mercy's ult used to be the heroes never die kind of thing. Where it was like a team ult of everybody that died is now back up. And that's awesome. That's like a great thing because it's like Mercy's a healer. It's very like, you know, the stereotypical kit of a healer is having a revive. But the moment they were like, oh, that's too strong for competitive play, it's too strong. That's when things start tipping towards, well, it was really fun. That was a really fun, weird mechanic. It might not have been the most competitively sound mechanic, but it was just one that really worked in terms of like, it makes you feel cool when you do it. And Marvel Rivals has that in spades. When you throw a Wolverine as Hulk into like a party, and then that Wolverine just starts killing people, even simple things like that, where it's like, oh, you weren't even the one like doing stuff. You were just the one who like incited the incident. Just the fact that you could throw a Wolverine at people and chuck them like a cannonball. That is what we're talking about when it's like fun stuff. And not a lot of games are like doing that when they're trying to also be competitive. Now, obviously, Marvel Rivals is trying to be, you know, I'm sure it has an esports league because that's like all the raids and that's where a lot of the money comes from. But the fact that they're still like, yes, here is a weird character that does weird things and has a very powerful kit and does like weird stuff. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. With immensely. But why is it on the list of like the second list, the mid list? It's not even, this is not a mid list. It's games that I like. It's just games I don't think have to go on the games of all time this year. The reason Marvel Rivals is on that list, on the second list rather than the first list, is because it is a competitive game and I am a coward when it comes to team competitive games. I get tilted so easily in terms of, and not even like raging. I don't really rage anymore. It's more like if someone says like, oh man, you're really throwing this game for us, I'm like, oh no. I immediately play worse. And it's very funny, but it's not enjoyable in the moment, where it's kind of like I just crumble. Because someone could be like, dude, what are you doing? And I immediately, like, even if they're not talking to me, I'll be like, oh my god, he's talking to me. I'm the one that's bad. I guess I should not play this game. Which is funny and weird at the same time that happens to me, especially when it's a casual game. But the thing is, some people are fucking animals. They just like, this is a casual game, but I'm playing this game like I'm getting the money to pay for my grandmother's operation. And you're just like, whoa, dude, chill. And it's like, no. No. Can't do it. I can't do it. I'm tugging my collar and shit, like, oh man, is it hot in here? And then like my whole team is just like speaking like, what the fuck are you doing? Why you haven't done a single thing as, you know, Winter Soldier or Spider-Man. Like honestly, playing Spider-Man is like, I want to play Spider-Man, but if you play Spider-Man, you gotta be good at the game, and I am not good at the game. I'm still gonna play it, obviously. It's just when we're talking about games of all time, like we're talking about GOATs of 2024. That's not, you know, Marvel Rivals is very fun, but it's definitely not on my list of like insane games that came out this year. What else do we got? We got Tekken 8. Got that. Tekken 8. Fist needs Clive. Oh, Clive is in, baby. So we got Tekken 8. Tekken 8 is a new fighting game, and that's, and every connotation that comes with that statement of it being a new fighting game, that's exactly what it means. People not liking the new mechanics? Check. People saying the old game rewarded better play? Check. Nevertheless, I liked it. I played Reina. I just tried to do like perfect electrics, like just trying to do that for like a couple days, and it was fun. I played a little bit of Tekken 7, but I definitely wouldn't consider it like a main game that I play a lot. I mostly just fuck around. I think the problem a lot with Tekken is that I just like special moves in my video games a lot, because I just enjoy doing those things, and Tekken is very much more like, you got your back forward 2, and it's just like them doing a punch. And like obviously, you know, there are some characters that are more flashier than others, like Lars, or, you know, the Mishimas have like weird crazy things like the electrics and all that. But it's like, I kind of just want to, you know, I like characters when they're throwing fireballs. I like characters when they're like teleporting, literally teleporting across the screen. And Tekken doesn't have a lot of that. Tekken is a lot more martial arts based, even if it has like magic people sometimes. Like half the cast is literally just, I punch real good, or I kick real good, or I do somersault kicks. And obviously they defy physics and they're going crazy, but I want wizards to fight, basically is what I'm saying. I like when wizards are throwing fireballs and doing crazy shit. But even after all that, Clive is in the game, and he's the exact example I'm talking about when I'm talking about crazy shit. He's just wild. He's a Final Fantasy character for sure. He's just casting spells, doing just all sorts of weird ass shit. So he's cool. I'm not sure if he's enough for me to come back to the game, but nevertheless, I'm happy that he's in. I know people really want Tifa, but what can we do, dude? What can we do, honestly? If we really think about it, then we also have to, what do we have to talk about? Satisfactory got released. Satisfactory, we gotta put Satisfactory. It's somewhere like here, about roughly about here, somewhere, maybe 12. Why did I call it 12? I don't know. Has there been that many games that I really like loved? Satisfactory, if you haven't played it, very good game. It is a post Tekken Minecraft world, like modern Minecraft world, where there's just so many games that are like build a factory. Build a factory. Did you hear me? Build a factory. And it's just one of those games where it's just, holy shit. You're just going crazy. You're building smokestacks. You're getting coal. You're getting machines. It's all that. And it's really, really fun. The only issue that I have with the game is that I played a lot of it in early access. So Satisfactory had early access. The reason I'm putting it on the list anyway is because it was officially released this year. And it was very fun. But I kind of grinded myself out of that game because I made like one world, got like pretty far into it. I think around like tier 3. I don't know. I forgot what it's called, but the different levels where it's like you get the space elevator and you're just shoving items into it, and then it's like send it up into the sky, and it's like, congratulations, you have now unlocked the next tier of scientific instruments. And so you're sitting there like, whoa, okay, now I can harvest this and make that and make this and make that, and you have the whole new checklist to do. I think I got to the 3rd tier of that. Stop playing around like when fluids were released. Was it fluids or was it trains? It was somewhere around there. I think, what did they call, what's the term for the updates? Either way, it was like big update number 5 or 6, around that time where I stopped playing. But nevertheless, I think that if someone were to ask me like, hey, should I play this game? I would be like, absolutely, yes, play this game. Play this game now, actually, because it's very good. What else can we think about? Talk about what games that came out this year. I'm like infinite wealth, dude. I gotta make a list. Games I gotta play. Okay. I really loved Like a Dragon 7. Like a Dragon 7 was fucking good, dude. Ichiban as a protagonist, thoroughly enjoyable. Thoroughly enjoyable. But that game, even though the main character was a comedic character, like Kiryu, a lot of the Kiryu comedic moments are mostly coming from him being a very serious guy, and then crazy people are just around him. Ichiban is the crazy guy. He's the one crazy. He's the crazy guy, and then everybody else is around him is normal, but they get sucked into the crazy. And then they're like, what is going on? Infinite Wealth I have to play. I really want to play Infinite Wealth. The main reason I want to do that is because 7 was so good, dude. My only fear, I have fears, yes, I have fears of why I haven't played Infinite Wealth. It is a giant game. It is a very big game. Like, ginormous. And I am scared of playing it. Like, just the things I've heard about it where it's like Dondonko Island and just all the side quest stuff, it scares me immensely. I'm scared. Like, I don't even know if I'll be able to handle it. That's the level I'm talking about, where I'm like, I'm scared. But nevertheless, sorry. Nevertheless, I'm gonna play it. I'm definitely gonna play it. Because the Majima game, I'm not sure if I'm gonna play the Majima game. I love Majima, but the whole like Pirate Yakuza, I don't know. Because I might just pick up, because, you know, RGG Studios comes out with a game like it feels like every 7 months. And I cannot keep up with them and play them every single time they come out because I will burn out of the series. That's originally what happened with when I tried to catch up to the Yakuza series, even though I realized that was like And you don't really have to do that. You don't have to really catch up. Cause I originally wanted to play 0, but instead I ended up playing 1 because I played the Kiwami 1. Really like Kiwami 1. Played Kiwami 2 immediately after. And I had Yakuza 0 lined up. I did not last. Is this from DMC? Yep, this is from Nico's shop in DMC 5. Cool. Yeah, but either way, I got burnt out, like, quickly, like, very fast. I did not last playing too many. Like, I couldn't last playing 3 games back to back. Similar thing happened when I got into Judgment. I took a year off playing Yakuza games. Didn't beat 0. But ended up going and playing and getting Judgment. I got Judgment. Loved Judgment. I love Judgment. Lost Judgment. And I couldn't beat it. I could not beat Lost Judgment. Lost Judgment was just Judgment 2, which I know what that sounds like, but I mean that in a literal sense of me playing those games back to back. I just couldn't handle it. There's just too much content in them. And I don't know how they end up doing it. I don't know how they're so good at it, but it's a thing, dude. It's a thing. We could talk about Granblue Fantasy Relink. I think it's a very good action game. I'm very surprised. I mean, obviously we've heard recently about Platinum's whole situation, and that to me is the most tragic thing hearing about it, because Granblue Fantasy Relink came out and they were like, it was a good game, and we don't really know how that played out, where it's like, did Platinum leave really good bones where the rest of the team, like the team that actually finished the game, they were like, okay, we'll take these bones and we still make a solid game, we just can't work with Platinum anymore. I don't know what happened there, but nevertheless, I thought Relink was very solid, very good. The only thing that I really find weird about it is that it stopped getting updates, which was very strange to me, because from my impression is that Relink was going to be essentially, okay, we know a lot of people aren't going to play Granblue anymore because it's a browser game. So let's make an actual video game that looks like a video game and plays like a video game, and actually be like, hey, you want to play this? You want to grind raids in this? And they never ended up doing it, because to me, it sounded very simple of like what to do, where it's like they could have very, very easily been like, all right, Magna 1 raids, and you got to grind Magna 1 raids, and like have like a grid system in that game as well. And just do it again. Just Magna 1, Magna 2, Magna whatever. Major updates every year. But it very much seems like after the Lucilius update, they're kind of done. Which to me is very strange. I think they did mention like, oh, if like there's interest, we'll keep making stuff. That to me sounds like, in general, that sounds not very probable, because if you weren't planning on making updates in general, I don't think the amount of fan requests for them to continue to support that game would be intense. It would have to be like immense. But I think most of the people who were really diehard fans of Granblue Relink probably were also regular Granblue fans who they got their updates. They play the games here and there. And by that, I mean they play the mobile game, so they're probably like just doing that content. So yeah, it's kind of like they really could have made like a Monster Hunter that was super anime, but I guess they just didn't decide to do that, which is a shame. I think it's a legitimate shame. What other thing do we like? All right, so we have to put this one. Let me set this down. I have my keyboard. All right, we gotta do this game. Alright, it's time for some lore. Oh. Oh, that's why I did that. I don't really have to save to this piece. Okay. We need to talk about Persona 3 Reload. We need to talk about this game. So, here's the lore. Sorry, I had to get rid of my cat out of my desk. Alright, so here's the lore. Persona 3 came out for the PlayStation 2 in 2006, with the FES version coming out in 2007. Later on, there was also a portable version of the game for the PSP, where it also added the female route. None of that is that important. The important part is that Persona 3 Reload was the game that got me into JRPGs. If I did not play Persona 3 Reload, I would not play the games that I'm playing today, that I really enjoy. I probably would have played something else, but Persona 3, the original, was just a game that I played, and it was very much just a taste-defining game. It was not perfect by no means. But every time I think about what are some of the best moments in video games, I do think about the Burn My Dread moment. I do think about Akihiko in the school during the later part of the game where he just breaks down. Those are a lot of the moments I think about. And me being a general Atlas fan. So why is Persona 3 Reload a 2 rather than number 1? The main reason is obviously Reload is a remake. And while the game hit, it didn't hit in a way where I think the remake was absolutely necessary for me. Here's the thing. If you haven't played Persona 3, there's absolutely no reason you should not play Reload, in my opinion. I'm sure here's the thing. Whenever a remake comes out, there is always a discussion of vibes where people will definitely say like, oh, the vibes are different. Like, I know a lot of people pretty much were saying that Persona 3 Remake was Persona 5, Persona 3. Or a lot of them feel like the vibes of Persona 5 were implanted into Persona 3 and that it lost the Persona 3 specific identity. I don't agree with this. I just think that some people, that at the end of the day, you're not going to channel the same feelings that someone had when they played a game when they were 6 years old. 6 years old might be a little too young, but you'll understand. Like, no game is going to beat the game that you played when you were 9 years old and it was summer vacation. It was the first time you've seen like violence in a video game. Like, some people, they were dead ass like in middle school, like me. They were in middle school and they saw Makoto put the evoker up to his temple and fire and yell push and say Persona, and saw Thanatos come out in that like OG animation style. They saw that, and that like defined their like taste in like media for like 10 years. And that can't be replicated no matter what, because it is circumstance. It is just the fact that it was something they've never seen before. And so Reload isn't going to match that. And even for me, where I loved it. I thought it was great. I liked a lot of the changes they implemented it by making Tartarus less tedious. I like how you can actually be friends with a lot of the social links that you couldn't just be friends with anymore because they forced you into romance. That was terrible. I just think it's a better game with all the changes made. But I still prefer something new. And that's always going to be a thing where I'm always going to like something new. And that kind of has a lot to do with another game that came out this year that we'll talk about in a bit. Because I think it did come out this year. If I'm not crazy, I think it came out this year. But let me see. Oh man, I gotta look through this whole thing. Tekken 8. February. Did it come out in February or did it come out in... I don't know. Did it come out in March? I think it came out in March. Come out March. Where's March? March 20th? March 27th. Why do I think March 26th? Palea come out? Dragon's Dogma. Did it come out this year or did it come out last year? Resident Evil 4. Ooh, it came out. Never mind. It came out last year. Resident Evil 4 remake came out last year. For some reason, I thought it came out last year. I mean, I thought it came out this year, but it actually came out last year. My bad. I think Resident Evil 4 was a very similar thing. Where I played Resident Evil 4, I loved it. I thought it was excellent. But it can't hit the same. It can't hit the same. It just can't. And I think expecting it to hit the same is naivety. Because there are a lot of factors of why you like that game from 13 years ago. There's a lot of factors of why you like that game that are just not replicable now because you're in a different mindset and you're a different person. And I don't think it's a fault of the remake because I think there's definitely going to be people who are going to play Reload and they're going to love it. And I think telling them, hey, Reload is a bad game, I don't think is really Sonic the Hedgehog results. Oh no, the Sonic fans are gonna hate. I actually like this song because this is his world, just acoustic version. Who cares? That's not really important right now. Speaking of Sega, actually got him. I keep forgetting that that's like a thing. It's so funny that Sega owns Atlas now. But yeah, I think to me, just to put like a bow on it or to just, finish it off, I think remakes are good and I think they're somewhat necessary because at the end of the day, I would much rather people experience the story of Persona Reload than just be beholden to like, well, if you want to play this really, really, really cool game, you have to emulate it on a PlayStation 2. Good luck, kid. I don't think that's a good option. Like, I think it's fine. Like, it's fine. Like, I think it's fine to have remakes. I'm not super against remakes. And if a remake for 4 comes out, that'll be good too. The reason I'm so happy and I'm so chill with Reload is because Reload came out and Metaphor came out this year. So that to me proved that Atlas was doing new things and old things at the same time. So it was never a moment for me where I felt like, oh, they're just going to remake 3, then they're going to remake 4, and they're going to remake 5 again. Like, no. They clearly are like, yes, we're making stuff and we're making new stuff and Metaphor is coming out and Metaphor is excellent and Metaphor has our attention. And I think it's very clear that Metaphor just killed it. The Game Awards gave a lot of credit to Metaphor, and I think a lot of people also wanted Metaphor to win many of the aspects of the people's favor. Metaphor basically stole people's hearts, pun intended, and yeah, I just think that's why I'm cool with Reload coming out. It's because Metaphor came out as well, and Metaphor was clearly a labor of love, just as every other game. So what's next? Oh man, we gotta make a list for this one. disappointments. All right. Okay. Dragon's Dogma 2 is not a bad game. I will never say that to someone's face. I will never say that. I will never do that. However, Dragon's Dogma 2 was a disappointment. And here's why. Oh, I gotta be careful I don't break this thing. I gotta need some object that's less breakable that I can just slam. Okay. Sorry, I had a very... Okay. Yeah, I could just slam this. Alright. Dragon's Dogma 2, if you don't know what it was, it is an action RPG by Capcom and is spearheaded by Itsuno-san, which is the creator of Devil May Cry. Obviously, that to me, that's really up my alley. I love Devil May Cry. I love action RPGs. This seems perfect. Well, so why do I have problems with this game? There's quite a bit of aspects to it that are like, why can't this be a normal game? There is a lot of emphasis on this game when it comes to friction. So there's no teleporting around, which is fine. A lot of those aspects add to the game's world and they make you feel like you're actually living in the world. Like when you do a trek from one town to the other town, it feels like a real journey. And it feels fun. However, the first 5 hours or 7, you're having a great time. You're going through these roads as your character and you have this party of pawns, which are basically player-made characters that help you out. And they make comments and there's a whole mechanic based around pawns. Basically, it's your party members, but it's a little more advanced because experiences that they have, they will let you know, they will notify you when you recruit them because they're all other players' people. Because you get to make one, and then the other 2 are people that you got for the party. All of it is great. The game doing great. There comes a certain point where you can only fight so many goblins and so many harpies that the game is no longer fun. I loved Dragon's Dogma 2 for the first 5 to 7 hours. After that, I was getting more and more bored, hoping that I would fight something more engaging. Other than the same 4 bosses and then regular ass enemies that were constantly on the map. Like goblins, you fight goblins a lot. You fight bandits a lot. You generally just fight people that are, you fight NPCs that are constantly repeating, and it gets very, very dull because it's like, no matter how good the combat is, if you're fighting jobbers that basically can't touch you at a certain point, because the thing is, it's an action RPG, right? So you're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. The goblins are going to stop being a threat at a certain point where you're just smoking them. Because also your party's getting better, and you're getting better gear and all this stuff, right? So, and you're also you have better game knowledge. Your character is just, you know what to do. Like, oh, I'm going to use the rogue's grappling hook type ability, where I'm going to just take that shield off of him, and then I'm just going to whack him in the face with my knife. And then I'm just going to run around and just kill them and stab them one by one and just smoke them. And then my pawn is getting super huge. I'm feeding them beef, chicken. They got all this shit. And they're just swinging the hammer, swinging the sword, and just killing people. That can only happen for so long before you're okay, there are other enemies, any other enemy types, anything. And you kind of you keep running around and you're doing a circle and there's no teleporting, and you're just walking around and you're oh, goblins again. Oh, I gotta fight goblins again. Oh, I gotta fight the ogre again. Oh, I gotta fight the griffin again. And then you're just sitting there and you're just whoa, I'm not having fun. And That is not cool. It's not cool. And it's very unfortunate because everything else about the game and the structure and the bones that it has is so up my alley that it's basically a game that I would love to play. I would love to play a Dragon's Dogma game that was just tweaked in certain aspects of it. Another thing about it, if I'm being honest, is I think the classes should have been a little wackier. This is kind of something that is a more personal thing. This, I'm not going to hold it against game. Like, this is just me talking now about things that I was slightly disappointed about. Dragon's Dogma 2, I felt like the classes were a little too safe. Especially since Dragon's Dogma Online had really cool classes. Like, it had the Monk and the Alchemist. I think the Alchemist and the Monk were kind of... I think I'm thinking of the same person. But either way, it had unique classes that were very interesting. And those weren't really in the game. And it was kind of a situation where it felt like a lot of the classes were kind of no-brainers. Not no-brainers in the sense of like... I think no-brainers is the wrong term. What I meant is that a lot of them seemed a little more on the generic side. And I think I would have loved a game that had a little more classes that were less traditional and less there. Because it's like you have the sorcerer, you have the mage. Okay, there's your magic classes. You have the trickster. The trickster's weird. But I heard that he's like kind of useless. So forget about that. There was the spearman class, which was the double-sided saber. And with also had telekinesis powers. That class, by far, the most interesting class. Because it's like, okay, so we're going to have a weird weapon, which is a double-sided saber. And we're going to give this guy telekinesis powers. And, like, that's, like, super interesting. But then you have, like, rogue, fighter, warrior, which is a person with two hands. And it's like, I wish there was a little, just a little more. Just a little more, like, intrigue. Like something a little more D&D where it's like you have a paladin and the paladin is like a holy knight and you have like variations of that, or like a dark knight, or some kind of like an alchemist would have been really cool, or like a monk that just punches people, just like going to town. That to me is what I was kind of looking for. And it didn't really have it. But I still had fun, like I said, for the first 5 to 7 hours until the enemy types get a little boring. And that's kind of what happened. Nevertheless, it's also tough for me to recommend it. Because, obviously the game disappointed me. So I can't really be like, yes, go buy the game. Have it, you'll have fun. It's a very 7 out of 10 game. And I kind of had trouble recommending it for that very reason. But damn, that's the problem with 7 out of 10 games, is that you still feel like, damn, the game could have been good. The game could have been good. The game is good, actually. It's just there are these parts imperfections in it that kind of make you a little like, just like, why can't you just like change this and change that and change this? And then it would have been perfect. But no. What else came out this year? I talked a lot about. Let's see. Go. Are Neptunia games good? I gotta ask this question because I'm seeing a lot of Neptunia here, and I don't know if Neptunia is good. It's a question I'm asking to the Void, and the Void doesn't answer because I've not carved out a place for myself in this Void. Nevertheless, I will still be asking if Neptunia is good. What else do you have? Chained Together. No. Shadow of the Earth Tree. We could talk about that, but that's a DLC, which, you know, come on, man. Damn, there's a lot of games that come out that I haven't heard of. I want to play some of these games. Tsukehime. Oh, well, alright. We gotta put something for me. Probably number 5. Under Night in Birth. Dos. There. Okay. So. I am a coward. I am a coward. And I like fighting games that let you be a coward. And Under Night is one of those games. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Under Night is a very good fighting game. It is a fighting game that I think people will love for a reason. And to me, those reasons are all kind of, you know, they either hit or they don't. Number 1, character design. The characters in Uni are awesome. They are really cool characters. Even the most basic character like Hyde has like drip. Like he's dripped out, right? Like when Skyscraper High 2 starts playing and that guitar riff starts going, you're like, this guy has drip. And he has cool moves, and he has a giant laser beam and a giant red sword, and he just whacks you in the face. The game is fun, but if you do not like anime bullshit, you're not gonna like the game. When you see someone like Hilda floating around and doing the princess laugh, hoi hoi hoi, like basically like anime tropes out the wazoo, and you see her blocking animation is her like laying down on like a chair of darkness, and then her weird ass hair is in a spiral. If you're not into that, you're not gonna have a good time. And when you see Lynn doing Kuga, you see her throwing a fireball, running around, going back and forth, like with her 2 knives and grabbing you and just like stabbing you in the throat. If you're not into that, you're just not into that. It's very anime. Not only is it very anime, the combos in it are annoying to do. From a perspective of someone that plays other fighting games. All right, so first of all, links I would say are the most annoying thing because I'm an anime player and links are the bane of my existence, even though I play a little bit of Street Fighter. Combos in Uni are, all right, do this combo as fast as humanly possible and then delay it, but don't actually delay it though. When we mean delay, we mean like actually just stop pressing buttons for like a millisecond and then you can do it. Because if you do it too fast, if you do it like it's a normal combo where you just do everything in a sequence, it's gonna drop. And if you delay too much, it's gonna drop. So you gotta go a little slow and then a little fast and a little slow, a little fast, and it's like annoying. But once you get it, once you're like, I understand how Uni combos function now, as from the mind, like once your hands know, you're in there and you're good to go. But, like I said, if you're not into that, you're not into that. Reverse beat, or I think it's called something different in Uni, but reverse beat is the name of the mechanic where you can go from heavy buttons to low buttons, which is the opposite of other games, where other games they're chains where it's light buttons to heavy buttons. So you do punch, kick, slash, heavy slash. This is a Guilty Gear example. But you go from low to high. Reverse beat is a different monster entirely, where it is you can either go low to high or you can go high to low. So you can do heavy buttons to smaller buttons. In Uni and in Multiblood, which is Multiblood is where the term reverse speed comes from, it's ABC. So you can go from C to A, or C to B, or CBA, or you can go ABC, or you can go ACB. So you see how like you can go, and the thing is that the chains are different if it's low button. So you can go from 2A to B to 2C to C, and it's like you're basically like fucking doing just doing like a crossword puzzle, and you're just like running around, or like you're filling out like a dotted line type chart, where it's like you're just doing things, and it's like, yeah, that's a block string right there. Like, good job. But again, some people, they like links. They like Street Fighter links, which if you like Street Fighter links, that's cool. I think links are fine, but I'm not the biggest fan of them. Literally the only reason I play Street Fighter 6 is because I like Ed a lot. I think he's a character that like really fits my playstyle. I also want to try Ibuki when she comes out, which she'll probably come out because Ibuki's pretty popular and she was in 4 and 5. I'm assuming she's going to be in 6. She's a pretty popular character. But it's that whole thing of like the character designs, the music. I think everybody loves the music. If you don't like the Uni music, then I'm like, who are you? Like, I don't think I could trust you. All right, let's bring out another game. Let me think of if the statement is correct. One moment. Let me think. Yes, the statement is correct. All right. I do like Junie more than Dawn Trail. Now, if you don't know what Dawn Trail is, it is Final Fantasy XIV. It came out in June. No, it came out in July, right? No, June. No, because, yeah, it came out in July because Erd Tree was in June. And they delayed it. So, Dawn Trail. Dawn Trail, if you don't know, is the latest expansion of Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV, known for its story. Dawn Trail is the restart, basically. It's the starting fresh. Because if you don't know, the previous expansion, aptly titled Endwalker, was the end of the game's overarching story for about a decade. Dawn Trail is what is essentially a second act, I guess you could say, to the game. It's Act 2. And in that sense, it is starting fresh. So, the game doesn't pretend that everything you've done up to that point doesn't exist. The game doesn't do that. That's why I'm calling it an Act 2. The game doesn't say everything you did before didn't happen, or your character's trapped in another universe, which one thing I hope that's a plot line. I hope a plot line is that we're trapped in another dimension again. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The game takes you to a place that you've never been before, which is a whole different country halfway across the world. Nobody there knows who you are, other than the fact they know that you are strong, because they can feel it, because you literally killed gods for like the past 10 years. And so the game is basically saying, all right, we're starting fresh. We're starting fresh. It's made very abundantly clear. We're starting fresh. And I enjoyed it. There are issues I have with the game. And a lot of those issues have to do with how things are presented rather than how they are, rather than the reality of it. And I think that's an issue that a lot of people out there have as well. The game sets you up as a mentor character. And I love that. That's probably my favorite part of the game, of this expansion, is that Wook which is basically the main character of this expansion. Even though you were previously the main character, in this expansion you are primarily the mentor character, and you are teaching Wook who is going to become a ruler eventually, not only strength, physical strength, but also strength of character and strength of heroism, that kind of thing. I love that aspect, and I like Wook a lot, and I like Wook development in the game, in the expansion. I feel like her struggles are warranted. I know there's a lot of people who sort of say, like, they felt her character was weak. I did not think that at all. I thoroughly enjoyed her character. It's just, I wish we were more of a mentor than what we actually were. I wish there were many more moments, because there were moments, definitely, for sure. You have to say Wook she makes mistakes. Those occur. But I really wish there were more moments where your character actually had to show something that they would already be aware of from previous expansions and sort of bring that forward to her and present it to her as almost a lesson. I'm thinking heavily a lot about Heaven's Ward and that sort of fall from grace that our characters have after A Realm Reborn. This is sort of like spoilers. But what essentially is that there are some expansions where our character was at their lowest point. And there are other expansions where there's just like political situations that we have to navigate. And it really feels like our character never... Wook and our character never face issues that I think would be cooler to face in Dawntrail. I really would have loved the moment where Wook was shunned from her home country. In a similar way that Heaven's Ward, a similar situation of that, where she was ostracized for something. She's the underdog in the story, but she's never ostracized, and I feel like that would have been such a good moment for our character to teach her something as well. And it's more stuff like that, because obviously teaching her how to be a hero and how to be strong, those are interesting and those are always cool. And now that I think about it, there's never really a moment where we spar with her either, and I think that would have been a really cool moment, because we spar with her father, which is the previous ruler. Well, acting ruler. He's going to step down to give someone else a chance to be a ruler because he's old. He's an old man, and we never spar with her. So I thought that would have been a moment that would have been cool, because it could have also been like, hey, we're accepting this character's strength. I don't think they would have went as far as making Wook beat us, because I think if they did that, the community reaction would be, yikes! People would be very mad. I probably wouldn't care, because whatever. But I know that there have been a lot of people who are kind of mad, and it's a lot of like expectation stuff as well, because it's like in general why other people were dissatisfied with this expansion is that we weren't the main character this time, and that's something. It's very easy to be like, oh, I'm going to dunk on you because of that, which I've dunked on people because of that, and thought in my head where I'm like, this person clearly just wants to be the main character. But it's an expectation issue as well, where if someone expects something from an expansion and that's what they don't receive, in their mind, they are immediately disappointed. And that just happens, no matter what you can do, because this expansion was trying something new. I think the main character should get a downgrade in power level. I think the Warrior of Light needs a debuff. I think we definitely need a debuff. Whether it's a knowledge-based debuff, a physical debuff, or something. There needs to be something, right? Because if you think about what many people consider to be the best expansion, which... obviously rose tinted glasses It definitely wasn't. Shadowbringers, our character had a debuff. And it was the light warden stuff, where our character, basically to bring the world back to normal, our character had to tank what is essentially a disease that was slowly killing us and turning us into a monster. This is established pretty early. But that was a physical debuff that made it where our character couldn't just take out their weapon and just swing it and kill whoever was a problem for us. Our character wasn't the omni-powerful being that they were at that expansion at that point, but they were still incredibly strong. There's also a misrepresentation of the main character's strength in, I keep saying MC because there is no established name. There is a misconception, I think, a lot with the power level of our character in general. He's very strong, and I still think he needs a nerf. But a lot of his strength a lot of the moments of immense strength come from also other people helping us, which is something that I think people forget about a lot. Thinking about like the final boss in many of the expansions, there's really only like, if I'm really thinking about it, let me think. A Realm Reborn? No. Heaven's Ward? No. Stormblood? Yes. Shadowbringers? No. And Endwalker? No. If you really think about it, our character doesn't really fight final bosses by himself. Okay, you can, if we're going by like first major boss, then I guess you could be like, oh yeah, he's awesome. Like Knights of the Round, that was a cool moment. But a lot of the big moments, the expansion story is over moments, we kind of had help. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Zenless Zone Zero. Do we really want to talk about Zenless Zone Zero? Alright, let's talk about it. Disappointments. Hoyo first game number 3. ZZZ. Alright. Zenless Zone Zero. Zenless Zone Zero. If you don't know what Zenless Zone Zero is, Zenless Zone Zero is a video game created by MiHoYo, which is the gacha studio. They made Genshin Impact and they also made Honkai Star Rail, and before those two games they made Honkai Third Impact. Their titles are definitely strange, but Zenless Zone Zero, another strange title. It is a action RPG, but it is primarily a gacha game. Now, if you don't know what MiHoYo does, is that they make beautiful games with a very beautiful and appealing art style, very anime. And these art styles, these games, make billions of dollars. They make billions. They make bajillion dollars. But for me, the games often lack substance. I know that's a shocking thing, but I don't actually mean substance in the way that you think I mean substance. These games being gacha, I have no issues about that. I personally don't think gacha games should exist from a fundamental level. But nevertheless, I am not opposed to them in the terms that I will either not refuse to play them or I will say they're inherently bad just because they are by their virtue of a gacha game. I'm not going to write them off immediately because of that. However, my main issues with Genshin Impact, and by extension Zenless Zone Zero, is that they never solved a core problem of it. Where it is, you play this game, the beginning is awesome because you're playing a story. Things are cool. You're meeting characters. The characters are cool. You're getting XP. You're leveling up your player profile. You're leveling up your characters. You're getting materials. And then, what happens when you beat the story? What happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. Because there's nothing. In Genshin Impact, when you finish exploring the world, the end game is farm for items by killing bosses that you obliterate in 3.5 seconds. And that's it. There is no progression system post-game. You're rolling for better items to kill those same bosses the same way. There's no progression. There is no, I get these items so then I can fight this newer, harder boss. There's never that. And Zenless Zone Zero has the same problem. I'll be back. No, I gotta get water. Getting water. Is that even, if someone joins, are they even gonna see that? I can't send it, no. Oh my goodness, no. I can't send it, no. Are you ready? Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're ready, right? You're not ready. Yeah. So what was I saying? We gotta warm up the throat. I've been talking for an hour. Dude. Small tangent. I want to get a blackboard or a whiteboard actually because of markers. I want to get a marker, dry erasable markers, and I just draw while I'm talking. Yeah, I could do it in Microsoft Paint, but I want to make it feel like I got something in my hands. I've gotten something in my hands that I could just, just fucking stab with paint and marker juice. So where was I going? Oh, yeah. Zenless Zone Zero sucks. Honkai Star Rail sucks. Genshin Impact sucks. Not because they're bad, but because there is inherently no point to playing the game. There's no progression. It's just you do the story, and then it's like, oh, make sure you level up your characters and uncap them and get them cool gear and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, what purpose? So you can get good gear again, but that gear is not actually, you know, the gear is not. You're not fighting new people. You're not progressing. There's no sense of progression in those games. Now I'm going to talk about a gacha game I play, and this is a meme. Obviously, Granblue player, like a Granblue player. We were just talking about Granblue. Granblue player. There's progression in that gacha game. There's Magna 1, then you do Magna 2, and then you do Magna 3. And even before that, you're doing the SR raids. And there's a clear progression of strength as your characters level up, but also as you build your gear. Because you're actually getting important gear from certain bosses, so then you can fight even stronger bosses. And there's a very clear progression path. Now, is it still a gacha game? Absolutely. There's still gacha elements. Is there still just, you know, just if you pay money in the game, you're going to get characters faster? Absolutely. However, the appealing part is that there is progression. And there is a sense of reason for you playing the game continually. Genshin and Honkai and Zenless don't really provide that sense of satisfaction. Now, the games could have changed by now. The games could have been entirely different, and it could have been like, oh, there's an end game now, there's a mid game now. That could have happened. But from opening salvo, I don't think it probably doesn't, because it's something that people have been asking for from the very beginning. And it never was implemented, at least while I was playing. So I kind of just lost interest in those games. And the stories were good. I enjoyed the story. But they weren't so good, right? The stories were good, but they weren't so good that I'm like, I'm going to stay just for the story. That doesn't happen. Genshin's story, pretty interesting. I think there were interesting aspects to it. Honkai, I liked Honkai's story a lot. Particularly, like, Belobog? Is that what it's called? Belobog. Is that what the first planet is called? Basically, the first planet. The first planet, hyper interesting. I really love the first planet. But it's just, it wasn't that good where I'm like, I'm cheered just for the story and I'm going to continue playing the story. Just didn't happen. So yeah. Let's see. Checking out some more games. I'm trying to see if there's any other game I can think about. Came out this year. Valorant came out for consoles. Cool, very cool. Hyperdimension Neptunia, huh? Dungeons and Degenerate Gamblers. Fate Stay Night remake. Steam World Heists. Huh. The Jantier Wilds. World of Warcraft, Core Keeper, Ghost Simulator 3. Didn't know that it came out. Memento Mori. The Abandoned Neverland. Squirrel with a gun. Yikes. We're up to September and I still haven't found any games. Sumerian 6. No. It's a lot of games. Astrobot, baby. Astrobot. Astrobot. Woo! Woo! Astrobot. Woo! That's all I have to say about Astrobot. 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 UFO 50. Cool. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. Kind of the similar situation where we talked about remakes. Though in this case it's a remaster. So there's not really that many things new about it. Balatro. I mean, if you're not playing Balatro, what to tell you, brother. I really can't say anything about Balatro. Farewell Ozymuria came out this year? Wait, really? Are you sure? Wait, let me see. Spin-offs and on the way. Karawa to the break. Oh shit, Farewell Ozymuria came out in yeah. Interesting. That's cool. Trials of Mana. That game company shut down. Very sad. Until Dawn again. Diablo 4. Vessel of Hatred. I do want to talk about Path of Exile 2, but I want to save that for some time. Crow Country. Crow Country. Heard that was very good. Animal Well. Heard that was good. Blazing Strike. Eternite. I heard this was okay. Who made this game? Studio Sign. Huh. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Wayfinder. Yeah. We wayfinding now. We wayfinding with this one. Romancing Saga 2. Revenge of the Seven. Very cool. That game. I don't have energy to talk about that game. It's Final Fantasy, but harder. And the interesting mechanic is every time you die, you pick a new person to inherit the skills of the previous person. So it's a little bit like Fire Emblem. It's a little bit like Fire Emblem. Particularly Awakening, where you pass down skills. That's what I meant. It's not a strategy RPG. It's a fully fledged turn-based RPG. What other game am I interested in talking about? Spirit Mancer. Not really that important, huh? Petite Island. If we can't find much stuff, I'll just talk about things I actually can play. Or I've actually been playing. Just more personal stuff. Rent a girlfriend. Is that the series is still going on? Girls Frontline 2. Alright, listen. Should I play this game? Should I play Frontline Girls 2? Damn, son. We're up to Marvel Rob, so we're nearing the end of our journey here. Is Path of Exile 2 not here? It's not. It's not interesting. It is not. Okay. For the King 2. What is this game about? Oh, it's For the King. And we're going up to 27th. Alright. We're going to talk about Path of Exile 2. Alright. Now, you may have heard word on the street. The Path of Exile 2 has many problems. And this is true. Path of Exile 2 does have immense issues, and it is a game that is definitely not complete. When someone comes up to you and says, Path of Exile 2 is in early access, that game is in early access. And they are being honest with you. My main issue with Path of Exile 2 is twofold. Number one, obviously the content is not completed yet. So the campaign, just as an example, there are supposed to be 6 acts in the game, 6 story acts. There are currently 3. So when you complete the third one, you have to do 1, 2, and 3 again on a higher difficulty, where the enemies are scaled up to approximately what you would be around that. So instead of starting at level 1 for Act 1, you'd be around level 40, 45, whatever. Depending on how much you fought and died to people, you might be like 50. So there's all of that going on. That's happening. That's what's currently happening. Plus, there's not every class in the game. Classes that are missing: Amazon, Huntress, Shadow, which is the rogue type stabby man with knives / traps, Duelist, Templar. Let me think if I missed anybody else. Nope. I don't think I believe I missed anybody else. On top of that, wait, let me. All these classes for full release. Let me see. Druid. I forgot Druid. But I think I got everybody else. Marauder. Marauder's missing as well. Huh. Okay. Basically, so yes, you have to get all their classes. You have to the class. There are certain classes not complete. On top of that, there are something called ascendancies. The best way to describe these are subclasses, in a sense. They provide additional skills that embolden your choices. Because the thing is that Path of Exile, I don't know if you've seen the memes where it's someone looking at the skill tree and going, wow. Path of Exile has a sphere grid system where you start at a certain spot depending on what class you pick, but you can move and take skills from another class by just going down a path of Exile. Going down a skill path and just being like, I want to end up here. Let me just put points as I go along, and then I'll end up here, and then I can get all the stuff around here if I want to go. Like, I start as Mercenary, which is in between Strength and Dex, because he's like a hybrid class. So he's got hybrid special skills that are like in his area, but he can move and go to Monk's area and get Monk stuff, or you can move and go to Warrior and get Warrior stuff. Or if you really want to, you can go all around and end up where the Sorceress is and get Mage stuff. That's all fine and dandy, but since there are missing classes, there are also missing skill points. So even then, there's missing stuff. On top of that, there's missing weapons, because every class is associated with a weapon. So Duelist, associated with swords, there are no swords in the game because he's not in the game yet. Amazon uses spears. Spears are not in the game because Amazon is not there. And those are some examples. So the game is not complete. The game is not complete. And you're kind of sitting there having a really fun time. I had a really fun time playing both Mercenary and Monk. And I thoroughly enjoyed those games. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I will always say this, I really liked it. But the game's not finished, and that bums me out. Nevertheless, I have put, since its release on December 6th, I put a total of 60 hours into the game. 60 hours is a lot to me. I've played a lot of the game. Oh, my bad. I played a lot of the game. Good thing nobody's here. I played a lot of the game. And I'm basically in a situation where I want to play more, but I know that I'm playing the most inferior version of this game. And that's not, obviously that's not the fault of their decision to put it in early access. Because I'm sure there are certain things that they're getting, I mean, I don't know if you guys have been to the forums, but the forums are absolutely tearing them apart. Limb from limb even, due to certain decisions that they had to do with more like stat-wise stuff. That's nerd shit. I just like pressing the buttons. As a button presser myself, I just press buttons. But when we are discussing early access stuff, I'm glad that they're doing it because they can make the game even better upon its official release. But at the same time, now I'm stuck in a situation where I really enjoy this game and I'm really having fun with this game. But I can't, I'm almost incentivized to not play it due to the nature of its existence. And that bums me out, dude. That bums me out, dude. It was a real bummer. My only hope, my only saving grace that could potentially happen is that in February or January, they release the class that I actually want to play, which is Duelist. I really want to play a Duelist, but Duelist is not in the game. So that's why I picked Mercenary and why I picked Monk. I'm not particularly into those like aesthetic of the Monk or the Mercenary. The Mercenary is kind of like a Van Helsing type with they use crossbows, but any class can use any weapon because of what I explained about the sphere grid. But the vibes are there, and those vibes are cool, but it's still not the class I want to play. So kind of sitting here like, what should I do? In the end, and this is where the funny part comes in. I decided to play Path of Exile 1. I've been playing Path of Exile 1. Not as much as Path of Exile 2, because I just fucking loved Path of Exile 2, where I played a little bit of it so far. I am kind of just sitting there chilling, playing a duelist in Path of Exile 1. I'm up to a level 40 duelist. It took me about, I think, like 6 hours to get up to that level. But yeah, that's currently what's going on with Path of Exile 2 and my relationship to it. Wow. So I talked about video games for 1 hour and 35 minutes. This is the worst podcast possible. This is not even a podcast. Because I'm just like ranting about games. Let me double check the list. Well, that's about all I know. We could talk about announced games, but I don't think that's particularly interesting. I gotta change my Twitch stuff. Fuck it, we'll do a live. Channel. Oh, that's me. Oh, I'm watching my own stream. Hey, whoa. Okay. Creator dashboard. I gotta get rid of the schedule, dude. Where's the schedule? This is excellent streaming content, by the way. Like, hey guys, watch me change my schedule live on stream. Dead. What? That's insane. Yeah, I should probably do this off stream. But anyway, I hope that was engaging enough. I don't think it particularly was, but it's always, I had fun. I had fun. I guess that's all I can do, huh? I'm not here to make bajillion dollars. Just here to have fun. That's all there is to it. But sometimes I feel like this stream works because sometimes I just have, like, I just want to talk about a topic. And here I could just talk to a void. And occasionally there'll be someone who says something like, hey, I think your opinion sucks. And I could be like, wow, what do you mean? Yeah. Well, with that being said, I think it's time to wrap things up. Thanks for everybody that was here. And everybody that was not here, well, you weren't here, so. Nevertheless. I think it's, yeah. Let me just end the stream, and I'll talk to you guys later.